I now ask that you hear from a local leader who supports the spirit of Mandiba's principles of working together toward a common goal, Dr. Eduardo Ochoa.
Well, thank you, Michael, for what is really the most generous introduction I've ever received. It's quite humbling to be mentioned in the same paragraph with Nelson Mandela, which but it is true that I think we have a great opportunity to make progress by focusing on the common interests that we all share and on the long-run view for our region. Our university is excited about the opportunity to host this event. I would like to extend my thanks to the Fort Ord Reuse Authority for its co-sponsorship and to staff members, both Cal State Monterey Bay and Fora, who helped bring it all together. Over the next 2 days, I expect we will all hear and discuss some ideas that we have not thought about before, that we will all be willing to move out of our comfort zones and examine our issues from a new perspective. And I hope that we will all be re-energized about the enormous opportunities for our community as we look again at the reuse and redevelopment of the former Fort Ord. For decades, the Monterey County economy was a three-legged stool made up of agriculture, tourism, and the military. When Fort Ord closed, there was an urgent need to replace one of those legs. The Fort Ord Reuse Plan is the culmination of a community effort to do that. The plan was and is driven by the 3 E's: education, environment, and the economy. It was and is dedicated to the idea that we can preserve open space for future generations while at the same time providing an economic foundation so these generations can find meaningful and sustainable jobs right here in Monterey County. The employment gap created by Fort Ord's closing was very large. According to a 1993 report by the California Post-Secondary Education Commission, at its peak, Fort Ord generated about 16,500 military and civilian jobs. It contributed around $800 million in annual economic activity to the Monterey Bay region. Even without counting, multiplier effects felt throughout the Tri-County area. Those jobs are not coming back, but others can, provided we're able to develop a new economic foundation for the Central Coast, in addition to the basic industries that remain, hospitality and agriculture. Since its inception, Cal State Monterey Bay has maintained a strong commitment to social justice. And one aspect of that is economic empowerment. As a campus, we are committed to reaching into underserved communities and providing access to an education that will allow those students to build better lives. To do that, they need more than a degree. They need jobs after they graduate. The simple fact, known all too well to many of us in this room, is that members of the younger generation today often cannot find work in our county. They move elsewhere, they build careers, families, and stronger communities elsewhere. We need the brains and the vision of our daughters and sons. We need to build an economy that provides them with more opportunities to flourish right here. And we need to start now. A shortage of family wage jobs clearly is a problem both in this county and statewide. According to a study by the Public Policy Institute of California, in 1980, some 60% of California families were middle income, as measured in today's dollars. By 2010, only 48% of California families fell into that category. Meanwhile, the income gap between the state's highest and lowest earners has doubled. No one county can solve that problem. It is our responsibility, however, to recognize that the problem exists and to begin to address it at a local level. We need to understand the realities of the market and to encourage policies that allow for sustainable development. As all of you know, in November, Monterey County voters rejected 2 competing measures on Fort Ord development. People can read different messages into that election. My takeaway was that voters didn't want to become immersed in the details of planning, but at the same time, they want the system to work. The job before us is to help make it work. Fora is the governance agency that can help us accomplish that. In looking back over the years since Fort Ord closed, the question invariably is asked, why hasn't more been accomplished? I am, of course, proud of the continued growth of our university on the Fort Ord site. but I know that other economic gains have fallen short of original optimistic projections. Certainly, the Great Recession played a large role in that. Today, the California economy and that of the nation is emerging from that recession. It is true that economic growth has been tentative and unemployment remains too high, but we do have positive momentum that could not have powered our efforts 3 or 4 years ago. A polarized political atmosphere played a role in the inability to make greater progress as well. Polarization doesn't get you far, as we have seen in Washington, D.C., and at times here in the county. But instead of dwelling on that history, we need to move beyond it and work collaboratively towards solutions. One issue I hope we can discuss over the next few days is how a university can act as an economic engine. As Cal State Monterey Bay has matured, our campus has reached a point where the work of our researchers and faculty members offer real possibilities for spin-offs and business partnerships. We seek to be a hub for economic innovation for the region. In the long run, it is those knowledge-based businesses that I believe provide the best opportunities for long-term development of sustainable family wage jobs. The kind of clustering of knowledge-intensive industries around universities can happen serendipitously, as in Silicon Valley. But it can also be brought about by a coordinated, comprehensive strategy that identifies the different components required by such an ecosystem, as well as the appropriate institutional actors who are to provide them. A number of regions across the world have sought to emulate the success of Silicon Valley through international and regional strategies. And I anticipate Dr. Kamath's presentation will cover this topic in our first session. I would be remiss if I did not discuss one impressive bit of progress that has occurred in the past 2 years. President Obama's establishment of the Fort Ord National Monument represents a great accomplishment by local environmentalists and many elected officials who were its strong advocates. By protecting a great expanse of natural wildland, the proclamation guarantees that those lands will be available for recreation in perpetuity. With those assurances in place, we can work more closely at what role ecotourism might play in the economic future of this county. For Cal State Monterey Bay, the knowledge that we will always have a national monument in our backyard represents both an opportunity and a responsibility. The wildlands of Fort Ord are a living laboratory for our faculty, staff, and students. The recreational opportunities there are also a great selling point as we strive to bring more of the best and brightest to our campus. At the same time, we recognize how important it is for us as a campus community to live in harmony with the natural order. We must proceed with our growth plans in a way that respects those connections. This relates to my strong belief that Cal State Monterey Bay must be a steward of place, helping enhance its community through service, through collaborations and partnerships, through good citizenship. We also want to serve the community as a source of expertise and a convener, bringing people together to discuss ideas in a neutral setting, as we're seeking to do through this colloquium. One part of demonstrating our commitment to sustainability here at CSUMB is our 7th annual free all-day look at locally relevant sustainability issues and solutions in a coordinated effort between the community and university. We call it Focus on Community and University Sustainability. And on February 12th, here in this building, we will be addressing, quote, a sense of place. This event will emphasize the importance of thinking about the specifics of our place here in Monterey County when making decisions about sustainability. You're all invited to attend that event. I would also like to take this opportunity to restate some outstanding news that I've shared with many of you already. Our campus now has assurances from the Cal State system that we will at long last receive $30 million in funding from the CSU to remove all of the blight in our campus over the next 3 to 5 years. We're very happy about that. Moreover, we anticipate ramping up our rate of growth of enrollment so that we will go from our current 5,700 students to over 8,000 by the year 2020. For the next 2 days, and by the way, that will bring to our campus about 100 new tenure-track faculty, which will be a great influx of creativity and innovation to the region. For the next 2 days, the schedule before you is an ambitious one. We will discuss blight removal, design standards, economic development, regional planning, ecotourism, and related issues. I look forward to hearing about the vision and the experiences of the experts we have invited. We will also encourage written questions from audience members to enhance the discussions. The goal of this colloquium is to shift the focus from specific projects and jurisdictional concerns to a broader look at what makes sense for the greater community going forward, not just for next year and the next, but for decades into the future. In closing, I would like to cite a maxim from the Iroquois tribal nation that sets the standard we should seek to emulate. It goes, "In our way of life, in our government, with every decision we make, we always keep in mind the 7th generation to come." Again, I appreciate all of you coming together here today and tomorrow to take on that formidable challenge. Thank you.